No doubt it's going to be a great game. The Bison-Butler game Saturday here at Target Field. Bison fans are excited. They're ready for another winning season. And I got a chance to talk with the man in charge of the herd this year. You're not new to Bison football, but everybody wants to know what's going to be different with you in the lead this year.
Well, of course, you have your touch kind of on all phases of the game. In the last 5 years, it's been more defense, of course, and then having some involvement with the special teams. But I've tried to learn a little bit more what we're doing offensively. That took some time. That was my spring ball project, just getting familiarity with, one, our players, and two, our playbook. I don't know if things will change a whole lot as far as what you see on the field. There may be some things behind the scenes that are maybe tweaked or slightly different than what they've done in the past, but the product on the football field, we hope, remains the same.
Okay, you talk about being on the field. Did you ever have the thought that your first game as a head coach would be at Target Field?
No, not at all. I've always dreamt of being a head football coach, but probably didn't put a whole lot of thought in where it might take place. And to have it in front of 35,000 plus Bison fans will be an unbelievable experience for myself and my family.
Yeah, quite the change, quite the venue. Does that change anything for you or the players, talking about that kind of a stage?
Well, I think we've tried to eliminate distractions. We know that when we arrive on Saturday, our players will probably want to take pictures and get out and check the turf and make sure they know what shoes they want to use. We've had our specialists kick off an infield of a baseball field about half dozen times just to get used to it, because there will be an infield that's still there that we need to be ready for. So we've tried to eliminate as many distractions especially during practice as we can, but it'll still be a pretty special event, especially when you start packing all those people in there.
We're pretty confident in Bison football and the culture and a lot of things not changing. So we want to know a little bit more about you and how you're balancing this. Is there a change in balancing, family and your NDSU family and living life as a head coach?
I don't know as much as my daily schedule. I'm a morning person, so I'm up extremely early. Probably the change is more in the office, just trying to balance myself between all three phases of the game, where in years past I'd lock myself or trap myself in the defensive staff room and call it good for the day. Trying to sit in on offensive meetings. During fall camp, I sat in on every morning meeting with the quarterbacks just because there was a decision that needed to be made, and I wanted to be there and be part of it. But giving my 2 cents where I think it's needed, but not trying to be overbearing, of course.
Coach Klieman, a loved coach. You guys are still friends. Did he give you any advice, taking over the reins?
I think the number one thing that Coach Klieman, as this was all going down, and it was probably the Friday of the South Dakota State game, is his number one thing that he told me is just, Matt, continue to be you. That's why you got the job. And so don't try to be anyone else, and just continue to be the best Matt Entz you can be.
Wow, that's great advice. Okay, one last question. We talk about Coach Klieman, Coach Bull, not so far in our, memories. What kind of coach will you be as far as your relationship with the players?
Want to continue to have great relationships with them. And I've been fortunate having recruited quite a few of these kids in both offensive side of the football and defensive side. So there's already an existing relationship with a lot of them. I want to continue to grow that. I don't want to become just the CEO or the head coach that is in his office and that's the only time you ever see him. Coach Olson let me do some individual drills during fall camp to let me have a little more interaction. Coach Blazik over at the O-line. So those experiences are good, but I want our kids to know that I'm a player's coach and continue to fit that role, even though I'm the head coach.
Okay, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm ready to get into game one. I'm ready for the first game to have started. I think our kids were ready to be on the bus 3 days ago. So
the fans too.
I'm sure they are.
Included. We're ready for Bison football. Coach, good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So much fun to visit with Coach Entz.
I was going to say, nice interview, Erin Andrews.
I know. Got my one-on-one. I had to do some sweet talking to get that time with the new head coach.
So we couldn't hear all of that, Kyle, but I think the biggest takeaway that I got is he's going to play a lot of cover 0 and cover 1, the way Lisa was breaking it down, right?
Yeah, we're talking XNO. Yeah, he's just going to bring the house every play. I think it is interesting, though. You think about a head coach and just him being a defensive guy, having to go learn the offense and kind of relate to those guys. When you're a defensive coordinator, you're so locked in on the play calling and game planning. You don't really get to know the offensive guys that well, so I think that's kind of interesting.
But, the culture of Bison football is already there, and he said it. Not a lot's going to change. Fans don't have to be worried. He said, ended with, we wanted to be on the bus and at Target Field 3 days ago, so they are ready to go. And I think you said that too. It's like it's time. You just want to get that first hit.
It's definitely time, and that's what we talked about at the top of the show. He's not going to change the culture, and that's what's made NDSU successful. But he's going to kind of put his little twist on the program, and I think it'll be interesting in-game adjustments. Like I said, he's a defense coordinator. He's used to calling, and there's the time management. There's some things that are different, but I promise you one thing: Matt Enns will be prepared. He's one of the most prepared guys I've ever been around.
Awesome. All right, stay with us. Coming up next, we're going to bring Marcus Williams back on the show and talk Bison football.